onto your butt.
Wait a minute, Doc.
Wait a minute.
Wait a minute. You ain't heard nothing yet.
Hold up just a minute. This is Chase, Kyle, and Andrew, and we're bringing you another short episode at the tail end of spooky season. Today's topic, horrifying scenes in non-horror movies. Are you guys ready?
Oh, yeah.
For sure,
Oh,
dude.
oh, yeah.
I was born for this.
He was ready for this, but the day he was born.
Yeah.
He's so ready.
Destined to sit on this couch and talk into a microphone for a podcast that everyone in the world listens to.
Everybody in the world.
Yeah, we have passed 14 billion listens. So
Insane. We're rolling in cash.
Crazy.
We shouldn't even be doing this right now. We have so
This is a
much
waste of our
relaxing
time.
to do.
Yeah.
We have to be out on our yacht right now. Don't forget.
I should be sitting in the middle of Lake Como, not even worrying about
Instead
this
of
right
Lake
now.
Lanier.
Exactly.
The poor man's lake. All right, awesome. So we have gathered a list of non-horror movie horrifying scenes. I don't think I said that right, but we'll move on. So we want to go around the room and talk about these because we've all had TV shows or movies in our past where we had a scene in it that just scared the shit out of us and it felt like it came out of nowhere. So Andrew, I'm going to start with you. Give us one moment that scared the shit out of you that you didn't see coming.
So everyone likes the movie The Zodiac. There is a basement scene there at the end of the movie where Robert Graysmith, who is Jake Gyllenhaal, is incredibly OCD about trying to figure out who the Zodiac killer is, and he has a little clue that he's following about a man, I think named Bob Vaughn, who made some movie posters that the Zodiac frequented back in the day or something like that. And the movie posters of that theater were very similar to the Zodiac's handwriting and the letters and stuff that he sent to the newspapers and TV stations and whatnot. So he gets to this dude's house. He's like, yeah, I want to see your movie posters. I understand that Bob Vaughn created these and his handwriting matches the Zodiac's. And the guy stops him and he's like, sir, I wrote those movie posters. I created them. And then the dramatic music starts to swell, and Graysmith, Gyllenhaal is like, what did I get myself into? That's not what I wanted to hear. And they walk down into the basement, and when they're down there, it's dimly lit, and the first thing he says is, sir, not many people have basements in California. And the guy's like, well, I have one. And they're walking through, and he's pulling out old canisters with these posters, and the guy's like, look at this one. You hear people walking upstairs, and Graysmith is like, is someone home? He's like, nope. Come back. And they go further into this like darkly lit room. They pull out another one, and you hear someone run again. And the guy who's opening these cans seems unfazed, and it seems like he's like relishing in this moment because he knows that Graysmith is scared. And Graysmith just starts to leave, and the shot's perfect. It zooms in on this guy's face, and he just pulls the light switch down, the old-fashioned cord, and all goes black, and he gets the hell out of there. But that was one that, like, that's a horrifying movie in a lot of ways, but it's more of a thriller. It's a historical piece.
It's a true crime.
It's a true crime, yeah. But that moment was scary as shit, and my description probably didn't do it justice, but it made my skin crawl. And it was terrifying.
That was a really good movie, and one that kind of fell under the radar for a very long time, it felt like.
Yeah,
or at least like it had some fanfare, but it didn't get the fanfare it deserved.
It wasn't popular until it came out on like DVD, I don't think.
Yeah.
It wasn't a huge hit right off the bat, but great fucking cast.
It was a long movie, too.
Yeah, it's like 2.5
It's very
hours.
heavy, and there is no resolution at the end of that movie.
Yeah.
We never figured it out, so he's still out there. Since then, if you haven't caught up, he has been caught, so...
Supposedly.
Yeah, I think, yeah.
He was dead, but...
Yeah, he got caught.
It's not Ted Cruz's father, unfortunately.
No.
So.
I'm going to go with a classic here. I think every kid from the early 90s will remember this scene, but Pee-wee's Big Adventure when he got into the semi-truck with Large Marge.
Oh, goodness, yeah.
And she turned and had that horrifying face. When I saw the movie for the first time, I just was like, again, it's like a adventure comedy. You're not expecting something that terrifying. It rocked me.
And what's the line?
Oh man, I should know.
It's
this.
something Large Marge. I don't,
I remember watching that movie again, and would always have to turn away or make my dad fast forward through that scene. I could not watch that.
Baby bitch.
Baby bitch. That's that's what they call me.
What do you mean that's what they called you? That's what they call you.
Yeah, they don't call me that anymore. They call me big bitch now.
Bitch
Kyle,
baby.
what about you?
Again, most of my selections for all these are going to be pretty basic because I'm a little basic bitch. But Lord of the Rings would be the top of my list. Just again, going off the nostalgia part, most of these are from like when I was a kid, and I remember the scene in the Fellowship of the Rings when Frodo and Bilbo meet back up in Rivendell after being separated, and you can see Bilbo's kind of aged, and this is when Bilbo doesn't have the ring, and Frodo does, and it just kind of falls out of his chest real quick, and he goes, I should very much like to touch that ring again. And Frodo kind of grasps it, and Bilbo goes, and just like lunges after it, but his face changes and contorts, and the power of the ring changes him for a split second, and I thought that was terrifying because it took somebody who loves this other person and just for a split second just like completely contorts them into something that you think that like he would kill Frodo for that ring, and I thought that was fucking scary. And in the Return of the King, Shelob's lair, specifically when he gets kind of in the depths of the cave and Gollum's like, something little fly, why does it cry? And he's like taunting Frodo, and then Frodo backs up and gets caught up in all these bones and shit. And he gets out his, I can't remember what, all the nerds are going to get after me, but I can't remember what he pulls out, but the vial of...
Nerds don't listen to this podcast.
They don't. They fuck them. But he pulls out his little vial of water that lights up that what's his face, Galadriel gave him. And in the background, you just see something that you thought was a rock just kind of unfold and unfurl into this fucking giant spider, which they modeled after a funnel web spider. Because in the books, the Shelob does not look like that. It's not a spider. I thought it was more effective. I was freaked the fuck out. From that moment until it stabs Frodo with the stinger, just scary. Scary, scary.
Okay. That's a good one. Gollum himself is terrifying.
Yeah, Gollum's hard to watch. Tough.
Andrew, what about your next one?
We're in a darker movie here, but the gas station scene with Anton Chigurh in No Country for Old Men, where he just walks in and the man's like, I see you're from Dallas. How's the weather up there? And he just gets pissed immediately.
Yeah.
What business is of yours?
Yeah. I've been in that situation, though, where I'm like in a gas station and someone's asked me just a question about my personal life or like where I've been.
Yeah, and you're just taking it back. You're like, what's
ring,
it to you, man?
Ring up my Doritos and my fucking Diet Coke and let me get out of here.
But they're in the middle of fucking nowhere, Texas.
That guy's been waiting all day to talk to someone. To someone
and of
instead
course,
of his
it's
wife.
some sociopathic, enraged killer who, pulls out a coin.
Don't put it in your pocket.
How much have you lost in a coin toss? And the whole tension, or what's the most you've ever lost in a coin toss? I think is the correct.
It's like what, a 5-minute scene, and it builds for us as viewers as like anyone else is just a random moment in time, but it builds because he's going to kill that old man.
Yeah, that man did nothing. He's just living and working at a gas station that he acquired from his wife's father. And he was at Chigurh's will. And I don't know, just the tension there is so palpable.
The ending line, too, is very poetic, where he's just like, don't put it in your pocket.
What's your lucky coin?
Yeah, it's your lucky coin. He's like, it's just a coin, or is it?
Mm-hmm. And he walks out.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. Great fucking scene, though.
Probably the peak of the Coen brothers writing right there, I would say.
Potentially, yeah. Potentially.
I mean, they've had some good stuff since then, but that's like just perfect cinema.
Did anybody see Who Framed Roger Rabbit?
Of course.
Long time ago.
Do you remember the dip in that movie?
The dip.
So he wanted to take over and basically, long story short, without spoiling the movie, but kill all the cartoon characters. And so he was putting cartoon characters in this acid. And at one point, he puts like this cartoon shoe. It's like a Looney Tunes shoe. And he's like slowly submerging it into this vat of acid. And the shoe is like screaming.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah. Okay.
Bloody murder as it's just being like incinerated. And that one stuck with me for a very long time. I still think that scene's like incredibly horrifying.
Yeah, that's a good one.
A sentient shoe.
Sentient shoe. That shoe looks so lovely, though.
From a children's movie.
Kyle, what you got?
I'm going to do one short one and one medium one. So The Dark Knight, it's a dark movie, but I think I was in high school when that came out, and I remember just seeing it in theaters, and it's particularly the point where he abducts the guy who's pretending to be Batman, and he's like, "Why are you dressed up like the Batman?" And he's like, so we don't have to worry about creeps like you. And he goes, "Oh," and he started doing his whole like fucking weird psycho bullshit, and then he does something. He's like, "Look at me," and he doesn't look at it, and he goes, "Look at me." That grabbed my attention, and in a way that I was like, That's really because he's gonna kill him.
Did you answer during the movie where you're like, "I'm looking at you"?
I promise, I'm looking at you, Daddy. He's doing this to toy with him, and he doesn't have a choice, so he has to look at him because he's gonna kill him. This is the last moments of this guy's life, and I realized that I was like, "Fuck me, that's really fucking scary." And then another one, Ex Machina. I don't know if you guys have seen Ex Machina.
Love it.
I don't consider that a horror movie. I think that is a sci-fi think piece more than anything.
For sure.
But the very ending of that movie, how everything kind of pans out, and spoiler alert, they get one man gets fucking murdered. He gets it out easy. The other man is locked in a room for the rest of his life, and he didn't really necessarily even do anything wrong. And just knowing there's no way out of this room ever, you're gonna die there in that room by yourself, while this sentient AI is going to go out and do whatever the fuck she wants to do because she used you. This machine used you to get out of here, and it was smarter than you, and it trapped you. And in this trap that it laid ends your life. That was also the first time I ever did acid, and I watched that movie.
That's an admission right here on this podcast.
Yeah, cool. Yeah, it's past statute of limitations. Fuck me. But I remember watching that on acid, and I mean, it didn't freak me out or anything. I just thought that it was very well done movie, and the end of that is just like fucking woof.
Okay, and gave us some detail too that we
Context,
either needed or didn't
you needed
need
it
at the same time. I want to throw this one out there because I'm in the headspace of all the kids' movies I watched that scared the shit out of me unintentionally. Tarzan. Do you remember Clayton's hanging scene?
No.
Where Clayton accidentally hangs himself with the vines.
Oh, yeah.
And
damn.
it's
That's
like
a good pull.
It's like a raining scene, so all you see is the like lightning strike, and you see a shadow in the background hanging from the tree. Mm-hmm. That one was one of the first movies I remember seeing in like, I guess just quantifying death in that way. Like my eyes were wide open and the credits just going through, and I was just staring and sitting there just blankly watching that happen. That one scared me.
Some of these kid movies, I'm glad that you've remembered, Chase, because I had forgotten them. I haven't seen them in so long, and that's definitely, Tarzan. That's one of the better Disney movies, I think, and it's
one of the
definitely
best soundtracks
ever. I would say, easily.
Phil
Collins did us a favor. Man.
He had no business going that hard on that soundtrack.
But he did.
He did, though.
He did us all a favor.
We're talking about some kids' movies. We don't have to do a complete spiel, but Brave Little Toaster, which we have yet to fully review.
No, we're going to do that soon,
folks.
Needs to happen.
With the fun twist that we'll have on that one.
Absolutely. There's a scene at the beginning when the air conditioning machine just like blows out, and it's essentially him like killing himself. And like it's dark as shit, and you don't expect it. And 6-7-year-old me, I remember I rewatched this movie a couple months ago, and it brought back so many unsettling memories. Like this was a movie that you enjoyed, but it was a journey to watch, and this was one of those scenes. And there's another one where they're in like a work repair shop for like parts, and they had been found by this dude who was going to break them down and sell their individual pieces.
Is that the guy eating the licorice?
I believe so. Yeah. Kind of a rotund dude.
Yeah. He
saved him in the
me
sinking
of Kevin
mud.
Smith a little bit.
Yeah, for sure. But there's a scene in like that shop where it gets like psychedelic, and there's like evil clowns and just dark, weird shit that maybe a 7-year-old shouldn't watch. And it throws in hallucinogenic images, and it's a trip. It is a trip, and it really sends you somewhere.
Stay tuned.
Stay tuned. Yeah.
Kyle.
I'll do my one and only kids movie that I have to do some more reflecting on because I know there's more kids movie that scared the shit out of me. But very basic. This was like young. This is like 4 or 5 year old me. One of the few memories I do have, as I don't have a great memory, if you can tell. But what I do remember
Is it from all the acid
and the alcohol
or the drinking paint?
drinking paint usually, and the head trauma. But so Beauty and the Beast, like near the I think it's the beginning of that movie when the dad of Belle is lost on the grounds and he goes in and he knows the Beast is there and he's like fuck. He sits down in the chair and he looks one way, looks left, looks right, looks left, and he looks right again, and the Beast is like right in front of his face. Like that scared the piss shit out of me.
A
Like,
good little jump scare there.
that was a really good jump scare, and I always thought that was a really well done scene.
Leave it to those early Disney movies to like either break your heart or just scare the shit out of you in just these weird ways.
They went to dark places. They didn't hesitate.
The
They didn't hold
witch
back.
in Snow White,
Oh yeah.
Ooh, yeah.
especially with their little fucking apple, trying to offer it like some lady at a grocery store.
Yeah.
Here you go, as a sample.
And now I don't want
candy
it at Sam's Club at 9 a.m. in the morning. All right, Andrew, what you got?
Scarecrow in Batman Begins.
Another
a good
Batman.
one.
Another
You
Chris
talked
Nolan.
about you talked about Batman. That got me thinking. And that was a kind of terrifying moment where he sprays the victim with the hallucinogenic drug and then puts the mask on, and it just kind of transformed into this like decaying scarecrow creature. It's dark. It's dark. Another one. This is a classic one. 2001: A Space Odyssey. Open the
Yeah.
pod bay doors, Hal. I'm sorry, Dave. I'm afraid I can't do that. How, proceeds to kill 2 other members of the crew. And that's a once-in-a-generation movie, first of its kind, essentially. The emptiness of space and AI taking over your ship and kind of ruining your mission and killing your coworkers.
What
that's
year was
terrifying.
that again?
68, I think.
A lot of the SFX they did in that were groundbreaking. Nothing had been like that ever.
2001: A Space Odyssey influenced so many space sci-fi movies to this day.
And here's the
without a
thing:
doubt.
it's still. We don't even need to watch the movie. That movie still holds up.
Oh,
to
without a
this day.
doubt. That's an infamous line, and I think it is pretty terrifying when you think about it.
Yeah, 100%.
Chase, did you have one? Because I think I'll save this one for.
I've got 2, and I'll just finish my 2. One that I also remember as a kid, because my dad loved this movie, and we watched it a lot, and I remember it terrified me when we watched it together. But in Willy Wonka, there's 2 scenes that scared me. One, the acid trip that they go on when they go through the tunnel on the ship. And it is this crazy, just almost like Clockwork Orange to get more Cupid
Without a
in
doubt.
there. And that kind of scene. And then the same movie where he forces the kid to eat the cake.
Yeah.
That
Augustus.
Yeah. And I remember not wanting chocolate cake after that.
Kind of ruined.
Well,
it.
I hate chocolate cake, so I've never wanted it.
And
but,
then I thought about you when I was thinking through
Oh.
this list, because I thought about Scooby-Doo, the movie where
The zombie?
where they're on the dirt bikes and the girl gets her face, like she hits the like a twig or something while they're riding,
Yeah.
and then she fixes her face.
That's right, yeah.
That scared the shit out of me too.
Okay, last one for me, and some may not be as familiar with this, but Nocturnal Animals with Jake Gyllenhaal. Great movie. Very underrated in my opinion.
Have not seen it.
It's a
Dude, that's a good one. You need to watch that one.
it's a story within a story.
Yeah.
So the main story isn't based in real life. It is an actual fictional writing, but you are transported there. And it starts off, Jake Gyllenhaal, and I think it's Isla Fisher is his wife, and they have a daughter, and they're driving through the West Texas desert in the middle of the night.
Oh, God.
And they get approached on the road by this speeding car, and it's these 3 local ruffians who they seem like they're just trying to cause trouble, but then it gets dark and they force him off the road, and essentially they kidnap his daughter and wife and drive off into the dark night. And that build up there, it just kind of sets the tone for the rest of the movie. But my heart was pounding. I mean, it is the vast emptiness of the desert with the darkness, being approached by evil entities, real human entities in the middle of the night, and just taken from underneath you. That's a terrifying feeling. And yeah, that one never left my memory bank.
All right. And that's a good one to wrap up on. Kyle, what about you? Give us one more.
I got two more.
Two more.
So both of these are both. It's two because they're both interrelated. You'll see what I mean. But one's Saving Private Ryan, and the other one's Schindler's List. So both very, very, very related movies.
A lot
very
of,
heavy.
Yeah,
incredibly heavy movies that
pretty much almost a horror movie without being a horror movie at that point.
Yes, I would agree completely. And I did see these as a child. I think I was about 8 or 9 years old when I was about 8 when I saw Saving Private Ryan, and I was about 15 or 16 when I saw Schindler's List.
Can I take a guess that you're going to go with the D-Day beach scene in Normandy?
Yes, there's that scene. Yes, because that entire scene just like really opened my eyes to like how fleeting life is and how dumb war is. War is stupid. War is hell. War is absolutely unnecessary, but that war was necessary.
Yeah.
And that's one of the reasons why it was just so heartbreaking and just so horrific to see
how much
all that portrayed.
And how many lives can be extinguished in the matter of seconds?
I don't know what the casualties were on that day, but it was tens of thousands of people on both sides that were murdered quickly. A lot of those drop ships just, as soon as they let down, the entire boat
couldn't even get off the boat. Yeah.
No. And just among the other things that happened, that whole scene and just like the amount of courage that like those men had on that beach to get up and go, regardless of whether or not they're going to be killed or not, really sat with me and made me rethink a lot of stuff that I had already thought at 8 or 9 years old. Pretty crazy.
It made you go into insurance.
Yeah. Schindler's List, another very, 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 very heavy movie that is a necessary watch for everybody, I would say, historically speaking. And specifically the scene with the watchmaker when he's making the watches and the commandant comes up to him and goes like, how many watches can you make? And he's like, you did a really good job. Make me a watch really quick. Oh, makes the watch really quick, stops his stopwatch and goes, oh my gosh, that's cool. How come you haven't finished X amount of watches? You're really behind on your quota. And you know what that means? That means you're inefficient. And we know what happens with inefficient people. And he like beckons for his people to take him over, takes him outside, and they go to execute him with 3 other officers around, and they try to shoot him once, and the gun fails. Try to do it again, try to fix it. Says, never mind. Holsters says, give me your gun real quick. And this is all just so nonchalant. It's like a business transaction. And the other guy goes, it's almost like, my pen's not working, give me your pen. And the other guy gets his, and he tries to fire, and his gun misfires. And they go back and forth like this for like 2 minutes. And this man is just contemplating the last couple seconds of his life. And then they just go, whatever, let's go get lunch. And that whole thing, just like the depravity and like the absolute nonchalance and just like detachment from humanity in that scene really stuck with me. And just
you can
really
even
sad.
add the opening scene from Inglourious Bastards into that.
Yeah, sure. It's very much akin to that whole thing. I would say Schindler's List sat with me more because that was actually happened. Obviously, Inglourious Bastards, that is all of it's very fictional, but it hits the same kind of tone. And that to me has got to be like the most realistically scary thing in all of this stuff that I've said. That's the one that kind of scares me the most.
Well, as you can tell, there's plenty of movies out there with horrifying scenes that may not be classified as a horror movie. That's just some of our list. We want to hear from you. We want to hear about movies that scared the shit out of you that probably shouldn't have. Or maybe you just want to yell at us about our list and call us babies for being scared of nothing. And that's it for Hold Up Just a Minute. We look forward to Halloween as we dive into the Blair Witch Project. We'll see you guys then.
Okay, bye.